My name is Layla Young, and I'm 34 years old. I'm a patrol sergeant, the one who wears a uniform while everyone else dresses up for special occasions. I've spent my life playing the role of the responsible one in the family, not because I enjoy it, but because it's easier to fix everyone else's mess than confront my own. But no one ever notices. It's always been that way. I have a younger brother, Adam. He's the golden child, the one who gets all the praise, the one who's always the center of attention. He's starting a business now, big plans, bigger dreams. Mom and Dad light up when he talks about it. They even throw him parties for signing contracts or getting investor meetings. It's funny how the spotlight only ever shines on him and how the rest of us, especially me, are just the shadows. I've learned to be fine with it, even if deep down I know I'm always left behind. I show up, I do my part, and I try not to make waves. And then there's my daughter, Lily, the one bright spot in my life. She's 8, and in her eyes, I'm a superhero. I braid her hair in the mornings and make up silly voices for the cartoons we watch together. She counts stars on our walks from the car to our apartment. She doesn't know yet that the world sometimes feels like it's not made for people like us. Not for me, not for her. When the invitation to the family reunion came in, it felt like a formality. Big celebration of success, the text said, with a string of emojis and a sign-up link. Adam had earned a new business accolade. Emma, his daughter, had received some statewide recognition. It was all about success, all about celebrating who's on top. And somehow, I always find myself on the bottom, looking up. Still, I tried to make it work. I bought a new pair of chinos, and I put Lily in the blue dress I bought her on sale. We showed up on time, expecting to enjoy the evening with my family, like normal. But that didn't happen. When we got there, the pavilion was full of people, and the centerpieces were a celebration of Adam's new venture, his company logo printed on banners, his daughter's smiling face in every picture. It was supposed to be a celebration of their success. There were name cards at the tables, but when I searched through them, my name wasn't there. Neither was Lily's. I walked up to Mom, who was smiling tight as usual. I asked, "Where do we sit?" She looked at me with that smile, the kind that means something else, and replied, "Oh, honey, it's a celebration of success. Adam only had so many paid seats with the caterer. You know how these things are." Adam slid in behind her, clapped me on the shoulder like I had wandered into the wrong place. "There's picnic benches over by the trees," he said, not even waiting for an answer before turning away. There it was again, the same old pattern. I was relegated to the background. Not important enough for a seat at the table, but just useful enough to clean up the mess after everyone else has had their fun. Lily squeezed my hand and whispered, "It's okay, Daddy. I like trees." I smiled at her, even though my chest was tight. We walked to the edge of the grass, where the benches were. The bench was splintered, the wood old and cracked. I set my plate down and tried to enjoy the moment with Lily, counting stars in the sky with her, eating pizza while the cheers from the pavilion echoed behind us. But it didn't feel right. As the party continued, a photographer passed by, snapping pictures. I didn't think much of it, just kept my focus on Lily, but something felt wrong, like I was in the wrong place. Mom's voice rang out, loud enough for me to hear over the clinking of glasses. "And Layla," she added, "please don't make this about you. Tonight is for winners. Emma is the real winner here." The words cut through me, sharp and final. I swallowed my anger, set my plate down, and tried to smile at Lily, who tugged at my sleeve. "Can we have pizza?" she asked. I nodded, trying to keep my voice steady. "Sure, Bug, let's order one." The rest of the evening passed in a blur of strained smiles and hidden resentment. Adam's voice rose above the crowd as the awards continued, and I sat with Lily on the splintered bench, staring out at the family I was no longer a part of. No one came to check on us. No one asked if we were okay. I've always been the one who fixes things. I've done it for years, patched roofs, paid for repairs, fronted money when the family needed it. But it's never enough. The running joke in the family is that I'm Officer Discount. My job gives me the power to solve their problems, but no one ever thinks to include me in their celebrations. No one ever thinks I need anything. That night, I ate pizza with Lily under the trees, staring at the pavilion, watching as my family ignored the empty chairs they had saved for everyone but me. I tried to tell myself it didn't matter, that I didn't need their approval. But deep down, I knew I was done playing the invisible one. The next morning, my phone buzzed relentlessly. 37 unread messages, 52 missed calls, 103 notifications. I hadn't even gotten out of bed yet. They weren't all from family. A few were from work, checking in, some were from friends, but most came from Mom, Adam, and some random extended relatives asking if everything was okay after last night. It wasn't like they cared, not really. They were worried about the optics, the image, the embarrassment. I deleted most of them except one message from my boss, asking if I was okay after the clip of me and Lily eating pizza made its way onto national TV. It seemed like everyone had seen it, an unexpected moment, captured on camera, and suddenly I wasn't invisible anymore. The camera had caught Mom's voice, loud and clear. The real winner here. Not me, not Lily, but Emma. The whole world could hear it. I didn't need to hear it again. But there it was, a little piece of my family's reality laid bare for the world to see. The TV host had even run a feel-good segment about community celebrations. There we were, caught on film, me and my daughter, isolated on the edge of a family reunion, eating pizza on a crooked bench because we had nowhere else to sit. I stared at the screen, watching my own image for what felt like the 100th time. The soundbite echoed in my mind, over and over. The real winner here. It didn't hurt like I thought it would. I felt something cold settle in instead, something that tasted like clarity. I wasn't the one who'd lost that night. They were. I didn't respond to the text, not right away. I needed space to think, time to figure out what I was going to do next. Lily wandered into the kitchen, her hair still messy from sleep, her face hopeful. She didn't know what had happened. She didn't understand the weight of the world that seemed to rest on my shoulders. She just wanted to know if it was school today. I smiled at her and said, "Not today. We're having pancakes for dinner tonight, okay?" Her face lit up, and I couldn't help but feel a little warmth, a little relief. Lily was my constant, the one thing that kept me grounded. In the face of all the noise from my family, I could still count on her to remind me what mattered. The phone rang again, this time a text from Adam. "Bro, you need to fix this. We're getting heat. People are calling us out for how we treated you." The words were half-hearted, like they were asking me to do something to save face, to sweep it all under the rug. Like if I could just apologize or say something, it would all go away. But I wasn't going to be their punching bag anymore. Not for them, not for anyone. I had enough. 2 days later, I walked into the precinct, my phone buzzing in my pocket. I put it on silent before I hit the locker room, trying not to feel like the world was crashing down around me. When I walked out to the patrol car, my partner gave me a side glance. "You good?" I nodded. I didn't know what else to say. I wasn't good, not really. But it didn't matter, not anymore. I spent the day in a haze, stopping at traffic lights, handing out tickets, responding to calls. The routine felt empty, like it didn't belong to me. It was hard to focus on anything, not with my family's drama hanging over me. When I wasn't on calls, I kept my head down, worked through my shift like it was just another day, and in between, my phone kept buzzing. That evening, I couldn't ignore it anymore. The family group chat was lit up, full of messages about the video that had gone viral. Mom was texting me. Adam was texting me. It was all about fixing the damage. At first, I ignored them, but then I saw the message from Mom. "We didn't think the cameras would notice you." Her words were sharp, but there was something in them that felt almost like an apology, like she didn't expect me to stand up for myself, but I had. I had stood up. I had said enough. I left the phone on the kitchen counter, turned off the ringer, and put it in airplane mode. Later that night, when everything was quiet, I opened up the Notes app on my phone and started typing. I needed to make sure this was clear, that they understood what I was saying, what I needed. I wasn't doing this for them. I was doing it for me. I wrote down my terms. Here are my boundaries. One by one, they appeared on the screen. I'm not co-signing anything. I'm not paying for events, PR, or tuition. If you speak to my boss again, I'll file a complaint. No more using my job as your discount card. If we meet, Lily and I get actual seats. Any conversation starts with an apology. When I finished, I stared at the screen for a while. I didn't send it right away. I needed to be sure. When I finally did, I sent it to Mom and Adam individually, not to the group chat. I wanted them to know this wasn't about the public. It was about me. It was about my family, my boundaries. I set the phone down and let it buzz some more. This time, I didn't care. I was done waiting for their approval. A few hours later, Adam replied with a simple message. "You're ridiculous." It stung, but it wasn't the same. It was the same old Adam. still dismissing me like I was nothing. But this time, I wasn't going to back down. I wasn't going to be that invisible woman in the background anymore. Later, Mom finally replied, "You've changed." And I had. But I wasn't the only one. The days after sending my terms to Adam and Mom felt like a slow, deliberate unraveling. The phone buzzed less, the family chat grew quieter, and my own head became clearer. I hadn't heard from them, not since those last messages, and it was almost a relief. For the first time in years, I wasn't in the middle of their chaos. I wasn't their fixer anymore. But the silence only lasted for so long. I was just about to start my shift when I saw a new text from Adam. "Fine, we'll talk. Sunday dinner, 7 p.m. Be there." My first instinct was to ignore it, to keep my boundaries intact and stay away. But something in me hesitated. It wasn't about them anymore. It was about me and Lily. It was about what I could accept. I wasn't going to cave, but maybe, just maybe, it was time for a real conversation. Sunday evening came, and I showed up. Not out of obligation, but because I knew it was time to stop running from them. My body was tense as I sat down at the table. The smell of cooking lingered in the air, heavy with memories I wasn't sure I wanted to revisit. Mom was the first to speak. "You hurt us," she said, her voice soft, but there was an edge to it. She wasn't apologizing yet, not in the way I needed. We didn't mean for things to go this far. I nodded, but inside I felt something harden. They didn't get it. Not yet. Adam shifted uncomfortably in his seat. "It wasn't personal. You know that, right?" His voice was quieter now, like he was trying to convince himself as much as me. "It always is," I replied, keeping my voice steady. "It always has been. It's not just one moment, Adam. It's the way it's always been. I've been invisible in this family for years, just filling in the gaps." Lily, who had been quietly drawing on a napkin, looked up from her crayons. "Daddy, what's invisible?" I smiled at her, trying to keep my voice light. "It means people don't notice you, sweetheart. Like when you're sitting at the table and no one sees you." She nodded, accepting the explanation, though her little face seemed to process more than I realized. The conversation moved in a predictable direction after that. Mom tried to backtrack, her usual tone creeping into her words. "Your brother is building something. He needs family. He needs support." I didn't bite this time. I wasn't here to defend Adam's dreams or his mistakes. I wasn't here to save them. I was here to finally speak for myself. And so do I. I let the words hang in the air, as heavy as they felt. I'm not asking for charity. I'm asking for respect. For me, for Lily. I don't want to keep fighting for a seat at the table anymore. Adam shifted again, clearly frustrated. He slammed his hand on the table. "What will make this right, then?" His voice was harsh now, as if he wanted to force me to accept his apology on his terms. "You listen," I said. "You stop asking me to pay for the privilege of being related to you. You stop using me for money, for favors. And you apologize to Lily. She deserves better than to be treated like she doesn't count. You make it right with her, first." The words hit harder than I thought they would. Adam's face faltered, but he wasn't ready to apologize. Not really. He didn't know how to admit he'd been wrong. Not yet. Mom sighed, rubbing her forehead. "We didn't know you felt so excluded." I looked at her. "You did. You just counted on me swallowing it for years. Not anymore." For a long moment, there was nothing but silence. Lily finished her drawing, oblivious to the tension swirling around her. The waitress brought over pancakes with extra strawberries, just like Lily had asked for. She beamed, and for a second, it felt like things could be different. Maybe they could. Adam mumbled something. "Fine, I won't ask you for money. We'll stop." It was more than I'd expected, honestly, but I needed more. Mom didn't speak for a long time, but her eyes met mine. "We'll save you a seat next time." I held her gaze, knowing the words weren't quite enough, but it was the closest I was going to get to a real apology. I nodded, not because I was satisfied, but because I had to take what I could get. Lily didn't quite understand the weight of what had just happened, but she smiled, her small voice chirping. "Okay, Mommy, I'm going to eat my pancakes now." We left the diner without any more drama. There were no grand gestures or apologies. It was just a small victory in a long-standing battle. I paid the bill, and Adam didn't fight me for it. Outside, the air was cooler than I expected. I turned to Adam one last time before heading to the car. "This isn't about revenge," I said, surprising myself. "This is about closure." Adam opened his mouth to argue, but stopped when the reporter's camera flashed across the parking lot, capturing a fleeting moment between us. I didn't need to engage, not anymore. As I walked away, I realized I was finally walking away from something I didn't need to carry anymore. The next week, I didn't hear much from Mom or Adam. There were no more texts demanding my help with loans, no more passive-aggressive family group chats. It felt like something had shifted, almost imperceptibly, but still real. I didn't know whether to be grateful or angry. Either way, I wasn't going to dwell on it. Instead, I focused on Lily. She deserved more than this mess. She deserved peace. That was what I promised myself. No more letting them use me as their emergency contact. No more standing on the sidelines, watching their drama unfold without a seat for me. One morning, after a particularly peaceful night where the only noise in the apartment was the hum of the coffee maker and Lily's cartoon voices, I decided to take a step forward. I went through the motions of the day, getting Lily dressed, packing her snacks, and preparing for a quiet day at the park, but something inside me had changed. It wasn't just about what I was not going to do anymore. It was about figuring out what I could do. I checked my phone. No new messages, no drama, no requests. Just a couple of old family texts, some from Mom, one from Adam. I didn't respond. But the silence felt different this time. It felt like peace. Lily and I spent the afternoon at a small park not far from home, one that hadn't made the news, one that wasn't littered with memories of family success or carefully curated Instagram photos. It was just us. Lily ran ahead, her laughter bouncing off the swings as I sat on a bench, watching her. I felt the weight of the last few weeks start to dissolve. The calls, the asks, the expectations, they were fading into something more manageable. I wasn't their backup plan anymore. I wasn't the family's go-to person to fill in the gaps. I was just me. And Lily, she was just a kid who didn't understand the subtle politics of family. Her innocence in all of this was a reminder that I didn't need to keep proving myself. That night, my phone buzzed again. Adam had sent a text. "Can we talk?" I stared at it for a moment before responding. "What about?" There was a pause before his response. "About everything. I need you to know that I'm trying. I was wrong. I get it now." I didn't know what I expected, but I didn't expect this. My hand hovered over the phone screen. Did I want to engage in this? Did I want to risk letting them back into my life? It was the first time in years that Adam had said anything even close to an apology. It wasn't enough to fix everything, but it was a step, a real step. "We'll talk soon," I replied, leaving it open-ended. I wasn't ready to dive in yet, not fully, but I was willing to hear him out. The next day, I took a deep breath before meeting with him. I wasn't sure where this conversation would go, but I had to trust that whatever happened, I wasn't going to lose myself in it. When we met at a cafe near the park, Adam was different. His usual bravado was gone. There was no arrogant smile or rush to move on to the next thing. This was serious, and he knew it. He started slow. "I don't know how to apologize for what I did or how I treated you for so long. I thought I was doing what was best, but I see now. I see how much I've taken from you and how little I gave back." I listened, waiting for the other shoe to drop, but it didn't. There were no excuses, no blame on anyone else, just him acknowledging the truth. "I've been caught up in the image of what I'm supposed to be, the successful one, the one who makes it." He paused, his fingers fidgeting with the napkin on the table. "I lost sight of what really matters. I lost sight of you." I had no idea what to say. Part of me wanted to accept the apology, but another part of me wanted to shut him down and walk away. For Lily's sake, I chose to listen. But I also had to make sure this time was different. "You can't keep asking me to fix things that aren't mine to fix," I said, my voice steady but firm. "You can't expect me to keep giving and giving without getting anything in return. That's not a family. That's a business. And I'm not in that business anymore." Adam took a deep breath. It was clear this wasn't going to be a quick fix. And maybe that's the point. Maybe it's okay for things to take time, to heal, to reset. "I want to start over," he said finally. "Not with the old expectations, but with the real stuff, the stuff that matters." I didn't say much in response. I didn't need to. We didn't need to solve everything in one conversation, but we needed to have this one. And for the first time, I didn't feel like I was being pushed to fix him. Maybe that was enough. I didn't hear from Adam much after that. He kept his distance, respected my boundaries, and slowly things started to feel different, better. Mom, on the other hand, still struggled with letting go of the image of what our family was supposed to look like. But even she had moments where she seemed to get it, where she tried harder to show up for me and Lily in ways that weren't transactional. But I knew now that I couldn't force anything to change. They had to want it. I couldn't carry them anymore. I had my own life to live. And Lily? She was growing up in a world that didn't ask her to prove anything to anyone, and that was enough. I spent the next few months sticking to my own rhythm. More park days, more quiet nights, more of just being present. It wasn't a glamorous life, but it was real. No more family drama, no more running on empty, just us. And that was enough. It's been a few months now since that last conversation with Adam. Things aren't perfect, but for the first time in a long while, they're manageable. It's the kind of peace that comes from setting boundaries and sticking to them. I'm still adjusting to this new version of my family, the one where I'm not their fixer or their financial fallback, the one where I'm just me. And sometimes that's a relief, and sometimes it's a little lonely. But that's okay. I've learned to live with the quiet. Lily, though, she's thriving. She's growing up into this world where she knows she's loved, even if we don't have a banner with our name on it. We don't need the trophies, the public validation. We have each other, and that's more than enough. Last weekend, I took Lily to the zoo. It was one of those days where everything felt right. The sun was out, the animals were active, and Lily was fascinated by every new exhibit. She kept pulling at my sleeve, pointing out her favorite animals: the lions, the giraffes, the penguins. Her excitement was infectious. We walked hand in hand, sharing pretzels and laughing about the monkeys. It was simple. It was perfect. But it also reminded me of something I had almost forgotten in all the chaos: the feeling of just being present. Not trying to impress anyone, not worrying about expectations or obligations. Just living. On the way home, I got another message from Adam. This one wasn't asking for money or favors. It was simple. How are you? I stared at it for a moment, fingers hovering over the keyboard. The old reflex, the one where I'd be asked for something, was there, but it wasn't happening this time. I felt a small smile tug at the corners of my lips. He's trying. We're good, I wrote back. Lily's happy, and I'm finding my way. He responded quickly. I hope you know I meant what I said before. I'm really working on being better, not just for you, but for myself. I could feel the sincerity in his words. It was still going to take time, maybe years, but for the first time, I wasn't burdened by the weight of it. I could let him figure things out on his own. I wasn't his savior anymore, and that was okay. Mom called the next day. It wasn't to apologize, not exactly, but it was her version of trying. I've been thinking, she said, her voice softer than I remembered it. Maybe I didn't always make room for you. Maybe I expected more than I should have. I listened. It wasn't much, but it was something. I'll try harder, she added. For Lily, if nothing else. You both deserve more than what I've given. It wasn't perfect, but it was progress, small steps. In the weeks that followed, there were more small moments like this, text messages with Adam, calls from Mom, each one trying in their own way to find a place in my life without expecting too much, without trying to drag me back into their drama. But the best part was that I wasn't trying to force it. I didn't need to fix them anymore. I wasn't responsible for their happiness. I was responsible for mine and for Lily's. I spent my days doing what I always did: work, parenting, simple routines, but I found myself feeling a little more grounded, a little more sure of myself, sure of my decisions. I wasn't constantly second-guessing, wondering if I'd made the wrong choice. This was my life now. When Lily asked one night, "Dad, can we go to the zoo again?" I didn't hesitate. I wasn't waiting for approval or permission. I just said, "Absolutely, sweetheart, whenever you want." And we went. Again and again, creating our own rhythm. And every time we went, I felt something shift. The world didn't need to applaud our every move. We made our own joy. One evening, I was flipping through old photos, some from the reunion, some from the years before. I stopped on a picture of me at Lily's birthday party, her tiny hand gripping mine. I realized something that hit me harder than I expected. I hadn't been invisible in her eyes. I was her world, and that was enough. It wasn't about the empty seats at the family tables or the rejection I'd felt from the people I thought I'd never let go of. It was about her, about the life we were building together. I know the dynamics with Mom and Adam won't magically resolve overnight. I'm still figuring out where they fit into my life, if at all. But now, when I think about family, I think about Lily. I think about the future we're creating. And whatever that looks like, I know one thing for sure: it's enough. I've learned to let go of the things I can't control. I've learned that real peace doesn't come from holding on. It comes from knowing when to let go.